Good evening, everybody. This is Betsy Wurzel, host of Chatting with Betsy on Pastoral Talk Radio. Jeannie White is the producer. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. And I hope you felt love today and that you are loved. And tomorrow is National Caregivers Day. So I want to thank all professional and personal caregivers. I want to thank post and present caregivers. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all you do. We love and appreciate what you do, and I salute you all. I have a special guest with me tonight. I love this woman. She was my first mentor in Dementia Land. I love Marcia's boldness and her passion, and I knew I had to get to know her. And I am glad I did, because her and Gadana taught me about the happy place. Even though I thought Marcia was a little nuts to begin with, I knew she was right eventually. I had to learn for myself. So I want to welcome Marcia Burr into Chatting with Betsy tonight. Welcome, Marcia.
Hey, Betsy. Happy Valentine's Day. Good to talk to you.
That's good talking to you, too. Happy Excuse me, I have a cold or something. Happy Valentine's Day to you. I loved your videos, and I want to tell people Marcia Burr does beautiful, beautiful, heartfelt videos. You will smile, you will tear up, you will laugh, and check out her YouTube channel. I had to put that in, Marcia, because I do. I cry, I laugh, and I smile when I see your videos.
Well, then they're doing what I wanted them to do. So thank you for that, because when I make them, they're a piece of my heart, really. And it's quite a process putting videos together. It starts out as just like this foggy, nebulous kind of feeling, idea, and I don't really have words for it yet, and it's sort of like little pieces that aren't put together, and I just have to let them sit and cook while I live life, and they slowly come together because I start like formulating more concrete thoughts about them. And it's really funny because in the process, I have really no idea how a video is going to turn out. It starts with this, I don't know, vague idea, and I let my emotions simmer on them while I go live my life. I don't let my emotions wash me away. Sometimes in the middle of making them, I do get washed away because they're a piece of my heart. But it's a technical thing where people send me their photos of their loved ones, and I have to say thank you. I love you all for doing that. This video making thing I've done it for almost 2 decades. And just over the past few years, I've started really concentrating on making dementia care partner videos, following my journey with Gaydana and letting the music and the images tell a story. And then along with this whole process of editing photos, which means getting them sized properly, and sometimes I have to enhance them and improve the resolution on them because they're old photos. Some of them are old, and they're not the best quality photos anymore. And then others are like really sublime. I'm telling you, I've seen some amazing photographs that other care partners have sent me, and I want to thank each and every one of you, because every photo helps tell the story that all of us, our tribe, are trying to tell the world, trying to get people to understand this dementia thing. And I'm telling you,
absolutely,
it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. But it's also been filled with the greatest gifts and lessons I've ever had in my life.
Yeah,
And I'm a better
I agree.
person. I'm a completely changed person than I was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, actually, Betsy, I was still drinking. In just a few more months, it'll be 10 years that I had a widowmaker heart attack brought on by drinking alcohol right out of a bottle in front of my computer, chain smoking. And I didn't care about life anymore. I was cynical. I was dark. I wasn't violent. I was intense. And my darkness was kind of scary and intimidating. It was a bad energy that sucked life. And that's what alcohol did to me. It was sucking my soul right out of me. And I didn't care. That's the weird thing. I came home from having a widowmaker heart attack. I have a stent in my aorta, and or not my well, yeah, it's my coronary artery is what it is. And I continued to drink out of a bottle for 4 more months after I got out of the ICU. And it was Gay Donna who, said, look, I just can't live like this anymore, Marcia. And she said, I'm going away for a few days. And you have to just decide what you love more. If you love me or if you love alcohol more. And, alcohol's a weird thing. Addiction's a weird thing. But there's a solution for it. And it's really, the solution is love over fear. It takes a big piece of humble bravery. It takes a leap of faith. And it's filled with grace, if we can do that. If we can have enough courage to look at our darker side and the mutant dust bunnies that float around our minds and souls. And so she left, and it was the day before Halloween, back in 2010. And I wasn't drinking that day, but I was still hungover because I drank all the time. I was always drunk, so I never felt drunk, even though I could be wasted. I mean, how else can a person get their cholesterol level to be over 1,000 with your triglycerides at 756 when they're supposed to be 150? I mean, it's really amazing that I live. It really is. And you know what sparked me back to life? It was love.
What's that?
Love. Pure and simple. It was Gay Donna being real with me and making me look at myself and making a decision. And when I made that decision, it was very freeing. It took time. I spent months going. I went to meetings like 4 or 5 times a week for about 3 years. And I found somebody to help me through the process. There's a process. There's steps. They work. I had to adapt them so they worked for me, but that's the beauty of them. And Gay Donna would often come to meetings with me. And the thing is, after I made that decision, it was months later that we found out Gay Donna had Alzheimer's disease. So, wow. Here I am.
Wow.
My own shit together. And we learned that Gay Donna was just handed a death sentence. And the weird thing that happened to me in this journey is, and because of the alcoholism and me going on a journey of taking some steps that have now just become a manner of traveling in my life, is, well, first, there was a whole big piece of denial on my part when we first learned. I was in denial, a medical person, a know-it-all medical person, just going, no, that's not it. She doesn't have dementia. No. And then I started getting more clear with myself, and reality took on new tones because I wasn't seeing it through a glass bottle of spirits. And I jumped from denial right to this place in the grief process of acceptance. So it's like I went from A to Z and hadn't finished the stuff in the middle yet. It was really weird because I just hit a place of acceptance after, well, I did spend a time after denial of going on this weird pity pot journey where I was like, God, if that was me, just shoot me. Just shoot me now, God. And it was selfish. It was so selfish. And it took a friend of mine, this biker chick. She pulled me aside one day and she folds her arms. She has on this leather vested jacket and blue jeans. She folds her arms, looks at me, and she goes, Marcia, Marcia, Marcia. It's not always about Marcia. And that pissed me off, Betsy. But I went home and I thought about it. And she was absolutely right. Absolutely 100% correct. And it was that day that something shifted, the door opened, and I started to walk through it. And I went from this weird pity pot land to acceptance. Just, okay, this is what it is. I accept it. And it's so weird because this is what happens to dementia patients all the time. It's horrid. They spend years probably wondering what's wrong with me, and they don't know how to express it. They're worried. They're busy with life. They're probably caregiving themselves with kids or other things and other people in life, and so they let it slide. And then, it starts to dawn on that, wow, something really is wrong here. And they go to the doctor, and maybe they haven't even learned a good process to go through about having a good diagnosis process. There's a way to go through a diagnosis, and I've done a whole PowerPoint presentation on it. As a matter of fact, I haven't presented it anywhere yet, but I have it. I've made it. It's ready. It's important stuff for people just hitting this journey to know about. And so they go to the doctor, and most doctors who are trained to save lives, and they're neurologists who are trained to be kind of arrogant, know-it-all, and very confident because we're dealing with people's brains, they say, basically, in essence, okay, you're going to die from this. It's a long, slow process, so go home and get your affairs in order. They're not giving, it's like, okay, go home and die. It's like, but wait a minute. If it takes this long, what about all the living in between? And so this is the weird part in my story, Betsy, is that I jumped to this place of acceptance. And we just kind of floated along like we were waiting to die. And it was horrid. It was awful. I was watching Gaydana fade away before my very eyes as I was starting to come back to life. And it was waking me up. And one day I came home from a meeting, and I walked in the house, put my keys away, and I walked back out in the living room, and I look at Gaydana, and my sister Dee Dee was living with us then, and I said, I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off about Alzheimer's, and I'm going to do something about it. And my energy was, it was really intense. And the day that happened, things started changing. So it's like I woke up from this acceptance back into what is, I guess, the second phase of grief, anger. And I took my anger, and that's what was the gasoline that Gaydana and I used in our little life raft to float us over to the happy place. And every day after that, I'd wake up with Gaydana, and we would talk about the happy place, and we'd talk about things that made us laugh, and we'd talk about happy, healthy, plump brains that we were going to plant in the happy garden. And we just learned to kind of enjoy the little small things in life that are so precious, that so many people on this planet are so wrapped up in all of these distracting details that they lose the whole essence. They forget what life is about. And so to me, that right there is the big cosmic joke about dementia. It's like we forgot something really important when we got on this planet with a free will. We forgot how to just be. It's like instead we got so wrapped up in our egos and making differences and labeling things. And, you know, that's how it is on this planet Earth, you know, pale blue dotted duality. We compare. You know, there's no good without bad. We don't know what love is without hate. You know, fear without trust. They're all connected. It's all the same coin, different sides, various spectrums of it. And so once we did that, that's when Gaydon and I finally started. I swear, Betsy, dementia probably saved Gaydon's and my relationship. And we spent about 20 years together, a third of my life. And alcohol didn't kill it. It tried real hard. And finally it was some of these steps that helped me get sober and clear and okay with myself, comfortable in my own skin. Those same steps is what helped Gaydon and I through Dementiaville. And we talked about like how she felt some days she'd just wake up and cry. Other days we'd laugh and joke about it. You know, funny things happen. And if we can develop our sense of humor about things, it makes life a lot easier and a lot more fun. It really does.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you have to have a sense of humor to deal with dementia. I mean, Josh and I would laugh at Matt, but we would not like laugh at him. It was either laugh or cry.
Yeah, it'd be like laughing at dementia. Like saying, you ain't getting the best of me. I got the last laugh. It's
exactly. And and Marcia, you and I have a lot of parallels because when Matt was diagnosed, I wasn't in denial. Matt was. The doctors were. But when we were taking care of Matt's mom, unfortunately, Matt made me the enemy, and our marriage was not in the best shape. Just as it was starting to get on track, Matt gets diagnosed. So it was really an eye-opener, a heart-opener that, you know, there's nothing like a terminal illness to put your priorities straight of what's important.
Yeah, it's a whole perspective shift, let me tell you. Being a dementia care partner, going through this journey is like this weird wormhole. It's like we go through this black hole and pop out on the other side somewhere in this parallel universe. And some of the stories I've heard, you just can't make this stuff up, Betsy, and people don't believe you.
I know.
They don't believe you, or they just like, they just have no way to relate. It's like they just don't get it.
They don't. And even medical professionals definitely don't get it.
The worst because they know it all.
Yeah. Well, I'm a medical professional myself. I worked as a licensed practical nurse for many years. Matt's home hospice nurse, she thought, I told her, Matt is at the end stage. Oh, no, he's not. He still, can walk and he talks and he eats. I said, well, if you consider hunched over and needing two people walking, being able to walk, Okay, I said, but you know what? Not everyone fits a textbook picture. Think outside the box. He is at the end of life. See, we caregivers, we know.
Symptoms. Listen, Betsy, there's very specific physical things that happen in the process of dying. And if she was a trained nurse, she should know that. But medical people need to be trained in empathy. They need to be trained to take their observations of the process of dying and apply some empathy and compassion to it and customize it to fit the needs of the care partners. It's like a marriage of the care partners and the surrounding support system. It's intertwined when it works optimally. And sometimes it doesn't, and you get pig-headed, arrogant people that just don't get it. And sometimes we got to speak up. And
absolutely,
we don't have to scream and yell. We don't have to talk loud at all. 3 weeks before, not even 3 weeks before Gaydana died, it was Easter. And Easter was Gaydana's favorite holiday ever. And she was not well, and I was out of ideas. I'm like, God, I don't know what to do anymore. And I'm a medical person who worked in a trauma 1 ER. I have ideas. So if I'm out of ideas, God. So you can imagine my feeling of helplessness. A person who usually always has an answer for everything. And that's what Gaydana, she used to say that to me too, in a disgusted tone. She'd go, you have an answer for everything, don't you, Marcia? And I'd go, yeah, pretty much. And she'd just look at me with total disgust. And, there was times I said that, and I meant it arrogantly, just like it sounded. And other times I say that, and I don't mean that with any bit of ego or arrogance. It's just kind of how I roll. It was how I was raised, that I can do anything I put my mind to, that I can take responsibility for my life and make things happen that I want to have happen. But we got to remember, we live on a pale blue dot of duality, so I can't just go out there and take, and make it all what I think it should be, because I'm just one little piece of wire in this immense web of humanity. And so the best I've learned how to do is open my heart and learn the language of love, which is spoken in our actions, in the energy that we create in our lives every day. And the things that develop good energy are just some basic, simple, good habits. They're not hard things to do. They're little things. Like every morning I wake up, and before my feet hit the ground, I'm saying, thank you, and show me. What's on the plate today? What are we doing today? What's up? I used to say, what if? And it was this cynical, dark, fearful kind of what if, like show me. What if? And now I wake up and go, what if? And it's full of promise and light and hope. And when I approached my day like that every day, I'm creating my own reality. But because we do live on this weird pale blue dot of duality, and we make ripples and everything intersects and bumps into each other, my actions affect others. So I have to go back to the beginning and remember that I'm just a little piece of the whole thing. I'm not it. I'm not the end-all, be-all. Let me just do what my heart tells me I need to do, what I have a calling for, what I'm good at, what makes me happy, what makes me shine. Those are the things, the little things that people every day can take 5 minutes. Caregivers, I'm telling you, even if you're stuck with no help at all, like I was, no help. I couldn't even go to the grocery store, Betsy. The store's 5 minutes from my house. Not even in a car. I could walk there. I couldn't even leave because there was no one to leave Gaydana, and she couldn't go to the store anymore. What do you do? It's like, these are the things, and this is why I'm like, man, we need to do something here local, and maybe we got to learn how to pull up our own bootstraps and start taking care of ourselves. And we start with little small steps. And that's basically part of why I'm driven to make all these videos. You know, Gaydana was a photographer, too. She was also an X-ray tech. That's how I met her. I was in X-ray school. And so my passion for photography is enhanced by Gaydana and her energy and the way I've learned to see the world through her eyes. And these are all lessons and things I learned because I went through this horrid dementia trip. And so I can't sit here today and say, I can't even really say I hate dementia, because I just don't even like the energy in that word. I can say there's some horrible things about it. We need some answers. But in the meantime, I can't deny the fact that the very things that dementia is making the world address are the very things we need to remember and start focusing on.
I agree. I feel, Marcia, that Matt's journey with dementia made me a much better person. And it was anger that fueled me to get in my car and start doing videos to raise awareness. I never would have done that otherwise. It was,
I'm so glad you finally got a smartphone, girl.
Yes. Yes. My flip phone broke. I said, time for a smartphone. And I'm glad I did because, it just opened up a whole new world to me. And I'm so glad that I got in my car and did videos. And I'm so thankful that Jeannie White heard me and changed my life. And I thanked Matt when he was dying for his journey and for me being part of it and the changing my life because, Marcia, as you know, this journey can make you either a better person or a bitter person, and we have choices. And you always said that. You always said thoughts become things, and you were so right. And that's why you were my first mentor.
There were many who like, I'm sure probably got annoyed with me because in one particular group, I harped on quantum physics quite a lot.
Yes, I remember.
And people are like, oh, God, Marcia and her stupid quantum physics again. And it's like, okay, I get it. But at the time, I had that anger, and I was so full of energy that I just had to spout a lot. And the stuff I was spouting are things that I'd really felt a long time in my life. Anyway, it's just, I think some of the spouting for me was learning how to formulate all of these ideas I had about it into something more concrete in my life that I could turn into an example of action instead of just words, so that I could walk my talk. And, people get it when they get it.
Yeah, that's true.
That's it. So I can't go beat my head against the wall and lament those that are not resonating with what I'm trying to say. I can't. It's a waste of energy. And I've told people before that I'm sorry, I just don't have the energy for that. And I remember saying that one time to someone, and they got quite offended, actually. and hurt feelings, really hurt feelings, I think. And sent me a PM and, like, you know, what do you say to that? That it's like, I'm not saying that I'm discounting you and that I'm not saying I don't care. I'm saying that I don't know what to do about it, really. I understand that's the choice you made, and that's the perception you have, and I can't change how people see the world. Only the person looking can do that.
Exactly.
All I can do is keep saying what I've been saying for years and years and years and years now. And sometimes people start listening. And some people don't, and that's okay too. I mean, we're all here adding our own little piece to the whole ripple in this world. And my one desire is that we all start learning how to make really good ripples. Let's make new ripples. And let's start healing. That's what it is.
Yes.
And so that's why I started a year after Gaydana died, and she died 2 days before our birthday, and her daughter had to make arrangements to fly down a day earlier because they were flying down anyway because, you know, it was our birthday coming up. And for the year prior, excuse me, the year prior to Gaydana's death, whenever we brought up our birthday, Gaydana panicked. She'd be like, or she wouldn't make a noise, but she'd like freeze. You could see her body tense up in her eyes. And I could feel the energy. I mean, Gaydana and I are connected. Look, you you understand that, Betsy.
Right.
And so it was like, wow, what's the deal about our birthdays? Well, she knew somehow it was going to be, you know, that if that was going to happen, it was going to be the last one. And she didn't want her daughter seeing her like that. Gaydana was a very private person, even though she recharged her batteries by being around people. She was an extroverted introvert. She recharged by people's energy, but really she was very private and shy. And she had social phobia that she overcame. You never know that about her. She was the life of the party, kind of Italian, guarda bella, love. And, you know, people loved her at parties. She made everybody feel welcome and never met a stranger that way. I mean, people would walk up to her in the grocery store and start telling her their life story. Me, in the grocery store, I can walk in with flip-flops, raggy cutoffs, and this old ripped-up scrub top. And people will go, excuse me, can you tell me where the blah, blah, blah is? Like I work there. It's like, hello, look at me. Do I look like I work here? Do I look like it? What could I act like and give off this energy like I know everything? I swear to you, I don't.
I get the same thing. I get the same thing, Marcia. People ask me, you know, do you know where this is? Do you know where that is? I'm like, I feel like saying, do I look like I work here? Yeah, I think they.
In my back that says, "Ask me, I know everything." You know.
Yeah.
Funny, but that's the power of words and the tones of our voices too. The way we speak carries great power, and you don't have to use it loudly to get a point across. I shamed doctors out of the hospital room over Gaydana's favorite holiday, Easter, and she was denied hospice care because she spoke an intelligible paragraph. Now, my mom died of colon cancer. She had hospice care the last 6 months of her life, and she died on her own bed in her own home and spoke eloquently on her deathbed. She got hospice care, but Gaydana had Alzheimer's, so she's not allowed to speak. To me, that's almost like a violation of a First Amendment right.
Yeah, because there's different criteria, Marcia.
I wonder if somebody could figure out a way to to make a lawsuit saying you can't do that. That's a violation of this person's First Amendment rights.
Yeah,
And
there's
it wouldn't float, but you get my drift with the idea there.
Yeah.
That, come on, man, you can let my mom speak eloquently on her deathbed, but my poor wife, who's seeing strangers that scare her to death, who can't walk anymore, who's incontinent, who falls, who can't swallow, she can't have hospice care. Clearly she's dying. What's the problem? The problem is follow the money. Dementia is epidemic. It's worldwide. 1 in 3 seniors are going to die of some form of dementia. Every 3 seconds, talk, tick, tock, someone's diagnosed with a death sentence. So this is a thing we can't ignore. As caregivers, I know we're overwhelmed. We're so busy. It's all we can do to do what we're doing. But those on the other side of the journey, like myself and like you, so many people I saw when they came to the other side of the care partner journey, they lost themselves, Betsy. They didn't know what to do anymore. 10 years, it's like they were in this weird zombie prison for 10 years. They were released, and it's a whole new world, and they don't know what to do. They don't know where they fit in. And it's hard. I think sometimes I've seen it was harder for that person after than it was during caregiving.
Yes. Yeah.
And this is the message that I harp on. I try not to be too much of a pain in the ass about it and not too much in your face. I just try to get people to start thinking and feeling and considering some of these things. Life doesn't end the day a person is diagnosed with dementia. We all die of something. In the meantime, let's live.
Right.
Hello. Let's live and share this one pale blue dot, this one thing that all of us have in common. Let's do that instead. And so that's why a year after she died, I started the Life Raft here locally in Williston, my little town that has less than 3,000 people who live in city limits, but there's tens of thousands of older married couples who live out in the woods alone. And it's cases of the demented taking care of the demented. And I know these things. I'm on the board of directors now for Elder Options, which is my region's name for the Department of Elder Services in the state of Florida. I'm a conduit,
awesome.
a voice, a way of communication between some help and what my community needs. So people talk to me. They tell me their stories, and this is the case where I live. So it's kind of hard to get help out to people who live in the woods that are in their 70s and 80s and don't have an internet connection. And the paper here comes out once a week. And so we meet once a month at City Hall. They have a beautiful room there. It has a kitchen, everything. It's really nice. And it's not real big, and that's okay. One of the people who comes, Dixie, she has mild cognitive impairment, the beginning part of dementia, and it's not diagnosed as anything particular yet, and the diagnosis process, as I said, is complicated, and it takes time. But we started doing other things. Instead of just meeting once a month, we've decided, you know what we're going to do? We're going to get out in the community, and we're going to start talking to people, and we're going to start having lunch at restaurants and teach, our local businesses about being dementia-friendly. We're going to go to parades and be in parades with a big life raft float that actually floats. We're going to go to health fairs and have a booth for the life raft and dispense information about dementia and let the community know that there's actually some help here. And let them know that, you know, we meet up and we're growing a tribe here locally. And so that's what I've been plugging away at since Gaydana died. It'll be 4 years this April 16th.
Wow. 4 years already, Marcia?
It's been almost 4 years, Betsy, yes. And I start up one bit. I've done exactly what I said all along that I was going to do. You heard me saying it way back in the crew.
Yep.
I was going to do this, that I had a vision.
I sure do. Yes,
and,
I remember.
You know, it's not this big, grandiose vision. At first it was, because I tend to overthink things, and I like to be organized, and I'm sort of an engineer, and I like graphs and charts and, you know, flows and things like that. And I realized after doing all this research, I had to just stop that and just put that down and just begin. Just find a place and start meeting and putting word out that, hey, there's help here. I write an article every month for the Williston Pioneer, our local paper that comes out once a week about the life raft. I share some of the stories and things that we've been doing, like we did the Martin Luther King parade, and they had a festival after that, and I spoke at that. Johnny Jones was there, and he's on the he works for Elder Options, so I know him through that connection. And let's see, golly, this coming week I'll have 2 different meetings for my orientation, really, because the board of directors for Elder Options, we only really get together maybe 4 times a year, quarterly, and discuss things and vote on things like how funding should be spent and think tank ideas about how we can apply help to local areas and customize it to specific needs, things like that. So I'll have an orientation and then another meeting, another kind of workshop filling me in on kind of like the rules and things that I really need to be aware of as a member of the board of directors. But I hope to be a mouthpiece for my community in Levy County so that we can start getting real help to real people right here, right now. Which brings me to the next exciting chapter happening in Florida, Betsy, and that is Florida's 2nd annual Alzheimer's Music Fest is right around the corner, girlfriend. And
March is
13th
great.
And 14th. March 13th.
Wow, that is around the corner.
It is, literally. We're talking a month away, girl, 1 month from today. I'm going to be on the ground once again in Tampa Bay, Florida, which is a couple hours from me. I'm going to be staying at a friend of mine's, Anne. I stayed there last year. She's tried. She is a care partner with her mother, who is in a very, very, very nice place. They take really good care of her, and Anne visits her frequently. She has a kind of an intense job, and so she works at home and has enough freedom to be able to, you know, go visit her mom a lot. So that's real good. I'll be happy to be connecting with her again. And let's see. Of course, you know, I can't wait to see Vince Zangaro and Gary Joseph LeBlanc and Whitney, who is the co-founder, along with her mom, of the Dementia Spotlight Foundation. She was a social worker, took care of her father. Now, if a social worker can't get help and figure out how to get some respite and things needed, God help us all, girlfriend, because social workers are the people that I tell people, go to them. Go to your local social worker. Ask the primary care doctor to hook you up with a social worker, because they know who's who in your local community. And so this woman, Whitney, couldn't even get help. Well, after her father died, she and her mom started the Dementia Spotlight Foundation, and they hooked up with Vince Zangaro, who started the Music Fest in Georgia. And, oh, my gosh, the Music Fest, he's been at it about almost 10 years now, I think. And so the whole thing and how I ran into them is really kind of interesting because I didn't meet Vince until after Gaetana died. And I love the guy. And he's a musician, kind of a guy, free spirit after my own heart. He understands the other part of my story about addiction. And he's just a cool guy who loves music.
He is.
He knows people, and he knows how to get people together and make these music things happen. So that's sort of like the lead ship of like this vision that I had. It's so funny because it's not anything like what I first saw the vision to be, but it's the vision nonetheless. So here's this lead ship, sort of like the Alzheimer's Music Fest, the fun thing that unite people and make people feel good, and we carry that, feel good energy. And so that's the end of this 2-day weekend that we have. And the day before that, the Dementia Spotlight Foundation has workshops all afternoon, free education seminars about dementia, the dementia care journey and being a dementia care partner. This year in Florida, Brian LeBlanc is going to come speak. He's fairly well known in the dementia circuit. He has Alzheimer's, and he's gone through a lot of stuff too, people not believing that he had it. He's been diagnosed 4 different times. People got to stop this stuff. I mean, I even see other caregivers do it. They go, oh, no, that person doesn't have dementia. And I'm like, well, okay, maybe that's true. Maybe it isn't because I don't know that person. I haven't spoken with their doctor. I don't have access to their medical records. I don't know any of the story. So I have no opinion about that. But here's this guy, Brian. He lives alone, been diagnosed, people not believing that he had dementia, and he travels around and he speaks about what it's like to have dementia and how he's carrying on a guy that lives alone with dementia, fighting, living, telling his story. And he's an upbeat, charming, just nice energy guy. I can't wait to meet him. And Reverend Horton, he's going to come play. He's headlining. We're going to have a bunch of other bands like we always do. It's like an afternoon of going to this cool outside place, sitting down, and you can be undercover too, so it's not like you get rained out. And just enjoying music all day long. You can eat some food. You meet other people who get it. And it's just a magic time. The first day is all about educating people, and a lot of good vendors come out. Last year we had a group come out that did free memory testing. They did the MOCA test, which is a better kind of dementia diagnostic tool. And, of course, there's not one tool alone that can be utilized to make an accurate dementia diagnosis. In fact, most dementias can't even be diagnosed at all without an autopsy. And the ones that can are likely the reversible kinds of dementia, the ones that don't kill you. They're brought on by maybe lack of vitamins or minerals, maybe by other abuse, maybe by trauma, physical head trauma, things like that. Sometimes some of those can be reversed. Even alcohol-related dementia, if a person stops drinking in time, that can be reversed because a lot of that is a huge deficit in vitamin B. So anyway, that's right around the corner, and I'm just really excited about that. I want to give a big shout-out to Gary Joseph LeBlanc. The guy's got a heart of gold. He's a quiet, workhorse. I have never seen somebody so dedicated, so driven, who just plods along every day, every single day, gets up and does something good for dementia. And he just recently lost his sister who had a lifelong disability. So, he lost his father and his mother. And so Gary spent his whole life being a caregiver. And he's a certified dementia practitioner. He knows this stuff. He's lived it. So big shout out to him. I can't wait to see all these people in Florida here a month away. And here's some big news. I was going to hold off telling it because I like surprises. You know how I roll.
Yeah.
But I decided, I'll let it loose tonight because it'll still end up being a surprise, Betsy, because a lot of people don't tune into this radio show. After the Music Fest in Florida, which is March 13th and 14th, Sunday, I'm waking up at Ann's house, and I'm flying out to Colorado. And I have family out there. So I'm going to go see my niece and my great-nephew. Big shout-out and hello to Alicia and Cameron. I love you both. So I'm going to go see them.
Nice.
And I'm also going to meet some care partners. One woman I've known for many years named Melissa. I've known her quite a while.
Oh, cool. Yes.
Meet Melissa. And she's an amazing care partner. She contracts out of her home, and she takes some of the hardest, most difficult cases of people that need 24/7 care. And she took care of the oldest living person with Down syndrome, and he eventually, in his 70s, did die of dementia because almost every person who has Down syndrome gets dementia. So she's an incredible woman. And
yes, she is.
His new care partner friend I just recently met maybe just over a year ago named Robin. She lives out there in Colorado. And then also, who else lives out there? Valerie.
Yes.
Valerie lives in the same town that Robin does. So I'm going to go out there, and I'm going to visit my family and share some love, and I'm going to meet more of my tribe. I'm going to meet
That's
more
cool,
of my
Marcia.
tribe. Weaving this web, this blanket, this big, huge security blanket of dementia care partners, and I can't wait. I'm really excited about all of it.
That is very cool. Give them hugs for me.
I will.
Because they are all fantastic people. And, yes, they are part of our tribe, definitely. And I want to thank you, Marcia, for coming on. Is there any last bit of pearls of wisdom you would like to impart?
No, I just want to say that Donna told me to tell all of you that she loves you and rock on.
That is so awesome. Every year I remember Donna on my personal page, and I owe you and Donna my gratitude for teaching me about the happy place. And I want to thank you, Marcia, for all you do for dementia and for helping people. And your videos it puts a face with the name of this disease. And I just, love it. And earlier, when you were talking about hospice and your mom talking, the hospice nurse asked me if Matt talked. And I said, well, sometimes he does between babbling. She goes, I'll pretend that I didn't hear that because otherwise he can't go in hospice. And the other hospice nurse The one who admitted him said that, and then the one who would come once a week said if she hears Matt say more than 6 words, he can't be on hospice. And I said to her, are you kidding me? I said, he is leaning to the side, could barely walk, incontinent, hallucinating. I said, that's ridiculous. And she herself said that Medicare has different criteria for a dementia person than and a cancer diagnosis. So it's 2 different criteria. And, it's not right. And that's why the healthcare system, that could be a whole other show we could do, is broken and needs to be fixed.
Yep. There's lots of broken.
Yes. And
but we as a tribe, we're gathering and we're working on these things. We're having the conversation. We're telling the stories, and that's how we're going to make things happen.
Definitely. And I am proud to say, Marcia, that I am one of your ripples. I definitely am one of your ripples, and proud to say so. And because of, your influence, I got into my car and started doing videos because I wanted to tell that story. I wanted to raise awareness. I was mad that the medical community was not believing us. And even, sad to say, as Matt was severely agitated near the end of his life, we still weren't believed. And that's really a shame. And, I had to take my anger, use it in a positive way. I talked to the director of hospice. I filed a complaint with Lavanta, which is Medicare's, I believe, parent company. They oversee Medicare. I don't know what will happen, but it brought me closure to file a complaint, not just for Matt, but for the other people that, I told the social worker at the hospital, caregivers are not going to take this crap anymore. We're not going to tolerate being disrespected and not listened to. We know our loved ones. We know them better than you do. And if you wouldn't accept treatment like this, why should we accept treatment like this? I'm not going to accept it. So, yes, we do need to speak up, Marcia. And thank you for coming on. Excuse my voice. Excuse me. Thank you for coming on Chatting with Betsy. I appreciate you coming on, and let's do this once a month. PM me. Let me know when you want to come on.
Yeah, let's do it. I think once a month is a very good idea. We don't have to be real strict with dates and times.
No.
Just life flow, but let's put it out there to the universe that we're gonna chat once a month and get caught up on what's happening in our communities and share ideas with other people that they can take back to their communities and tweak them so they work.
Yes, and next chat, you could tell us about how the music festival went and what, exciting things went on there.
There's other things on the list after that, but I have enough on my plate right now. So we'll save future plans for another time.
Sure. Well, thank you very much, Marcia. I appreciate you and love you. And I just, as soon as I saw you in this group, I said, I have to know this woman because I loved your boldness and your passion. And I saw it. I felt it. I felt your energy. And I just had to be your friend. And I'm glad, very glad that I did. And that had to be 5 years ago then. If Gadana died 4 years, then it's been 5 years.
We got together. It was
I've been on Facebook 5 years.
It was 2015. It'll be 5 years August.
Yeah.
5 years August.
Wow. Yeah, because I joined Facebook, I think in 2015, and it was in July. And I went crazy joining support groups. Mm-hmm.
I was sitting at my computer one day, minding my own business, going through notifications, and the next thing I know, I was plopped into this private, very small group of caretakers. And that's where I remember meeting you, although you said you remembered meeting me from Memory People, which is no longer a group. It's not a group anymore.
Wow.
And I learned later on that guy Rick was misdiagnosed, that he didn't have dementia.
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you, Marcia. I'm going to have to wrap it up, but thank you so much. Thank you, listeners, for listening. Please share this audio cast. Please read the blogs that Jeannie White works so hard on, does a beautiful job. And, Marcia, how can they contact you?
My Facebook wall is public. Anybody, anytime can send me a PM. And please, if you want any photos of your loved ones in a video, get a hold of me. I'm always around.
Okay, thank you. And
I love you a whole bunch, Betsy. You keep.
I love you too, Marcia. Okay, thanks. Thank you. This is Betsy Wurzel, host of Chatting with Betsy, Pastoral Talk Radio. Thank you for listening. You can follow me on my Facebook page, Betsy Wurzel, Wurzel. I have my hashtag Kick Alzheimer's Ass Movement. All is welcome. You don't even have to have dementia or a loved one with dementia. Come and learn, be inspired, and just shine your light out there and know that you are loved and you are worthy. Have a great night, folks. Good night. Bye-bye.